And we welcome in right now our Caitlin Ross, always bringing us stories of hope and stories that uplift us. And today, Caitlin, you have another wonderful story for us today.
Yeah, this kid is really incredible. I thought it was so important to share his message because he wants to heal through laughter. What Koltyn Roper has been through is so hard, but he's getting through it by laughing a little bit every single day.
What is a duck's favorite snack?
Physical therapy always starts the same way for Koltyn Roper. A joke of the day, his idea, something he started when he arrived at Shepherd Center's rehabilitation program.
Try to stay funny, try to make people laugh, because, you never know what somebody's going through.
And what Koltyn is going through is hard. In December, he was accidentally shot by a sibling, an injury that left him paralyzed from the chest down.
This situation, we see it all the time. You hear about it all the time, and you think, well, I would have done this, this, and this, until you're in this scenario. And then you get a real dose of what it's like.
His mom, Heather Roper, says the judgment from the outside has been crushing. But inside these walls, where the focus is on healing, Koltyn just keeps pushing forward.
I'm just proud. He's come so far playing ball and just being a kid again.
That playfulness, that light, that's what Koltyn wants people to see when they look at him.
That kid's got a really good attitude, oh, he's really respectful.
And that he's funny, really funny. So what is a duck's favorite snack?
I don't know. What is it, Cal?
Quackers.
Man, it's hard not to smile when you see him and the deliberate optimism he's taking to a challenging situation.
Yeah, and you know what, Zach, that's exactly the point. What you took away from that is that he wants people to look at him and smile. He doesn't want people to look at him and feel bad and feel sorrow. He wants people to look at him and see hope and humor and light and a future. He said he really thinks that he wants to grow up and work at Shepherd Center because it's been so transformational for him. And he wants to show other patients, look, I can do this. I'm 12 years old and I'm getting through this. You can get through this too.
12 years old. Boy, oh boy. And you were there with the family, with him at the Shepherd Center. Talk to us what it was like to be in the room with him and to see him interacting with the staff there and going through the PT and the rehab that he's going through as well, because it's work there too.
It is. It's a lot of work. I think he gets through a lot of it through humor, but I've talked to his mom so many times since this accident happened, and she said it's really Koltyn that's bringing their whole family through this because it's so much devastation. It was an accidental shooting. He was shot by one of his siblings, and so not only have your son who is now paralyzed and grievously injured, you have another son who is emotionally just distraught. They had to pull their other son out of school because he was just being ridiculed and teased and bullied so much. And she's had to straddle this really difficult line of supporting Koltyn through his recovery, supporting her other son through his emotional reckoning of what happened. And then they have two other small children. And so it's just this really difficult situation. And through it all, Koltyn is like, keep pressing, keep working, keep laughing. And they're gonna need that laughter because they go home today. And she said it's just going to be such a huge change. Koltyn keeps calling it his new normal. And I think as kids, you adapt a lot easier. He's 12 and he's like, okay, so maybe I can't run and play baseball, but I can play with this adaptive baseball team. I can adapt what I do to this new way of life. But for his mom, she's looking at their house and she's like, well, we don't have an accessible bathroom. We don't have an accessible bedroom. His bedroom's on the second floor. How do we work all of these things out? And so there's so many logistics going on in her mind at all times about how do you deal with all of this? And with Koltyn, you deal with it through laughter and through keeping that sense of humor and really showing everyone around him how resilient he can be.
This is something as a family that is going to be a journey for them.
Yeah.
Was there anything his mom told you that really sticks with you and your memory as you think about where they are and the journey ahead?
So maybe this isn't as uplifting as it should be, but it's something that I think is so important to keep in mind, which she said, so many people, you look at that headline, and she knew it was going to be a headline. She knew it was going to be a news story. And she said, even herself, you have that moment of judgment of, oh, I would never, my family would never, my kids would never. And she's like, it's so easy from the outside to sit in judgment of somebody else. And you just don't know what you're gonna do or how you're gonna react or what your family situation is going to be until you're in that situation. So her message is really that, you know, the easy thing to do is to judge and say, I would never, my family would never, my kids would never. The harder thing to do is sit in the reality of the fact that this does happen to people and this is their new normal. And the best way you can support them is by holding back on that judgment and just saying, hey, how can I be there for you? You know, does your family need a meal? Is there something I can offer you to help support you? I mean, doing that in this situation is harder than just standing from a dozen feet away and saying, I would never be you. And so I think that that's a really important message that I took from this, is just, it's really easy from the outside to judge what somebody else is going through, but until you're sitting with it, you just don't know what you or your family would do.
And for this young man and his sibling, his brother, I mean, this is, and the whole family, something totally unexpected that completely reorients the trajectory of where they thought they would be right now and a day from now and probably a week and a month and a year from now.
Right.
And yet he is still choosing to attack this incredibly challenging situation with a smile.
Right. Yeah. Choose humor, choose joy, choose light. And Koltyn is choosing that every single day, which I have to imagine is the harder choice to make. But for him, it's the better one. And I think we could all learn a lot from him.
And when you're at the Shepherd Center, the folks there, the staff there, they see people going through challenging circumstances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The most challenging circumstances. And they help them as best they can to adapt and keep moving forward. When they have a patient come in like Koltyn, I've got to imagine they just are inspired too by a young man who's gone through so much and is able to rise up and lead as a 12-year-old like that.
It really is cool. Shepherd Center is an amazing place, and their program is incredible. The doctors, nurses, physical therapists, I mean, they're all amazing. But they definitely light up when they see Koltyn coming. You know, his joke of the day is now infamous, and they all, you know, even as soon as the first line of the package rolled, you were like, it's Quackers. Like, you know the joke.
I did know that one. I did know that one. But I would have laughed in the moment if I was there, and it would have brought me, I mean, incredible joy.
Yes, exactly. It's like, you know the joke, but it's the heart behind it that really is just so impressive for this kid. He is awesome.
And I think you made a great point before we head to break here, which is that it is the hard choice.
Yeah.
And it would, I mean, my goodness, how understandable would it be to not take that approach?
Right.
100% understandable. And to do this at any level, at any age, and take this approach. But then to do it as a 12-year-old.
Right.
You're in school. At 12 years old, you got a lot going on just as any 12-year-old. And now he's got this thrust upon him. What a tremendous young man, Caitlin.
Yeah, he's really incredible, and I know he's going to do amazing things.
Well, we are rooting for him and his family. We're grateful for you, Caitlin, as always, for sharing these important stories.
Thank you, Zach.